6347.
Hi! We're the students of Winston Churchill Public School, and you're watching Studio Q!
Hi, I'm Ron Tite. Welcome back from a relaxing reading week, hopefully, to all the tanned and untanned people.
Hi, I'm Kirsta Teague, and welcome back to Midterms and Studio Q. We've got a great show today with stories on Blue Jeans Day at Queen's, the new video store in the JDUC, obviously a Streetwise, and much, much, much more.
But first, some tragic news. A car accident 2 weeks ago claimed the lives of 2 Queen's students. With more, here's Sharie Ross.
The accident happened around 5 o'clock in the afternoon on February 18th. Tammy Becker and Valerie Feltham were heading home to Ottawa on Highway 16 when their car was struck head-on. Tammy and the other driver were killed instantly. Valerie died the next morning in hospital. Police think that the driver of the other car had fallen asleep at the wheel and had crossed over the center line. Tammy and Valerie had been friends since kindergarten. Both were from Ottawa and lived with 2 other housemates they had known since junior high. Friends say Tammy lived life to its fullest. A third-year politics and women's studies student, she'd hoped to one day become a judge. Valerie was also in 3rd year. Her friends say she was a more private person who loved to travel. She was a French major, she loved to write, and was an excellent student. Tammy and Val will be missed by both family and friends. Many of them went to their joint funeral on Monday of last week. The small church where it was held was filled to capacity.
For those of you who missed the results of the AMS Executive elections, the team of Phillips, Wilson, and Minerson won by an amazingly small margin of 31 votes. 107 of the ballots were spoiled, so it turns out that these might have made a difference in the election.
31. I'm going to get a hockey shirt with 31 on the back.
Speaking of politics, no, Michael Wilson has not become a prof here at Queen's, but he did visit Queen's School of Business on Wednesday to try and teach his audience a little bit about NAFTA. He answered questions from the students on the agreement, but he had little comment for the media when asked about his plans to run for the Tory leadership.
No, I don't have any intention of doing anything of that at this time.
Back to campus politics, Principal David Smith is leaving Queen's after serving 2 5-year terms. He has decided to pass his post on to someone else. A principal search committee has been formed to find Smith's replacement. 2 open forums will be held by the committee on March 29th and 30th, with times and locations still to be announced. The German theater group begins performances of Max Birsch's Don Juan this week. You can catch the last 2 shows in Convocation Hall inside the Theological Building at 8 p.m. on March 4th and 5th. Protection, predators, and parole were the topics of debate at Grant Hall on Wednesday night. The AMS organized a panel to discuss the release of sex offenders in the community. As this is a very hot topic of debate, Studio Q will present a follow-up story, so be sure to watch.
The new video store opening in the JDUC has been hailed as an intelligent venture by both administration and students. However, as with much at Queen's, it couldn't open without its fair share of controversy. The problem stemmed from the fact that the movie titles shown in the video store have to comply with the AMS mission statement. Mike Wise reports.
Hi. The noise is deafening. I can barely hear because we're running out.
The crowds might have been small, but that didn't stop the celebrations at the official opening of Kingston's newest video store, Vids in the Hall. It's run by the AMS and has a lot going for it. Great location, reasonable prices, and a pretty good selection of movies. All the makings of a successful business, right? Wrong. The AMS may find out that renting videos isn't as easy as it seems. They may have to make some tough political decisions that may involve pulling some movies from their shelves. This all concerns the AMS mission statement. It was passed as an amendment to the Alma Mater Society Constitution by last year's AMS Assembly. It strived to make the AMS a non-sexist, non-racist, non-homophobic, and otherwise inclusive organization. It was meant to apply to all AMS services, including the Journal and Studio Q. But when the mission statement was drafted, few people had thought about opening a video store. Now some groups on campus want to see the mission statement used to screen the types of movies the store offers for rental. The AMS doesn't want it to come to that. Here's Sharie Fraser, the Media Services Commissioner.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is provide as wide a selection as we possibly can, so that if there's a movie that I don't appreciate, then hopefully there will be another movie that I can rent. Because it's a...
Last December, surveys were sent to various groups around campus. They were asked to provide a list of movies they'd like to see the store offer, as well as what movies it should avoid. Julia Lipinska and Lance Lamore took part in the survey, representing members of Queen's gay, lesbian, and bisexual communities. They've seen the movies that Vids in the Hall offers, and they feel they've been betrayed.
It seems like there are more of the movies from the list that we didn't want than from the list that we'd like to see in the store.
They had asked us for our input. We put serious thought into it, and it doesn't look as though it's been taken into consideration.
For their part, the video store staff says more alternative movies have been ordered, but still there appears to be a problem. How do you run a video store while working within the guidelines of the mission statement? If you're the AMS, you set up another level of bureaucracy, a video review board. They want to have it set up, if not for this term, then by September. Should a student complain about a particular movie, this board would rule on its suitability for rental. But do all of these demands lead to censorship? Lance Lamore doesn't think so. He says the AMS has already censored its selection of movies using the mission statement. They've made a conscious effort not to stock pornographic or overly racist material.
We're just asking them to go maybe a little bit further and not show movies like Basic Instinct that are overtly homophobic. And the only reason
Basic Instinct was a movie that made the top of their list of concerns. It's been criticized for its negative portrayal of Sharon Stone's bisexual character. It's just one of the many films they don't want to see at Vids in the Hall.
We'd kind of be, shooting ourselves in the foot if we kept pulling movies that kept renting.
Greg McDonnell is the manager of the video store. He says he doesn't want to pull any movies if they're popular with renters, but admits ultimately the decision is a political one for the AMS.
Hand, that's their duty to kind of guide me in these things and to tell me, whether I should keep it or whether I shouldn't. I, for one, would like to keep these movies if they continue renting, because ultimately that's what the students' money went into this for.
But for Lance Lamore, all of this doesn't meet up to his expectations for the mission statement.
They have to follow guidelines concerning anti-homophobia, anti-sexism, anti-racism, and that's their own mandate that they are choosing not to follow by presenting that movie as an option to other people. And if people do want to see it, fine, there are other video stores in this town that will carry it.
Many are wondering whether the AMS is just paying lip service to the mission statement and whether it has any real teeth behind it. The AMS hopes that its proposed movie review board will help to ease some of the concerns of their critics. But even those critics admit that the review board will need some sort of guidelines. If the AMS were to pull every movie from the shelves that could be considered racist, sexist, or homophobic, there'd be very few movies left to rent. For Studio Q, I'm Michael Wise reporting.
2 Saturdays ago, the African and Caribbean Student Association hosted a celebration of African and West Indian culture. Pete Leekha has more on this colorful event.
Upendo, the Swahili word for love. That was the theme of last Saturday's Culture Night, an annual event presented by the African Caribbean Students Association.
We are here tonight to try to demonstrate how much love exists within humanity.
Attended by people from all areas of the Queens community, the show featured a collection of songs, dances, poetry, and plays that took the audience on an emotional roller coaster ride. The timing of the show was excellent. February is Black History Month, a time when people of all different races and cultures come together to recognize the numerous contributions that blacks have made to society. This was reflected in Upendo.
In memory of the bitter hours when we discovered we were black and poor and small and different and nobody cared and nobody wondered and nobody understood. For the boys and girls who grew in spite of the...
Noel Roach, one of the organizers, summed up the theme.
You don't necessarily do a piece from your own country or from your own region. I mean, I was in Gumboots. It's a South African dance, and I'm from the West Indies. So.
Hosted by entertainment personality Jerome Punting, the evening was a celebration of diversity. The performances originated from such countries as Uganda, Jamaica, Kenya, Canada, Spain, and even South Africa. But the most popular performance of the evening was the one called Gumboots. Based on a similar dance performed at last year's Culture Night, the dancers donned their boots and marched onto the stage, creating a pounding rhythm that held the audience in a trance. For this dance, the performers had practiced 1.5 hours every night for the past 2 weeks. Chew on this, Michael Jackson. Solo performances by Peter Samuels and Stephanie Simpson were just samples of the talent displayed at Grand Hall this evening. Oh, and we can't forget the rising stars. The culture night that the African Caribbean Students Association started years ago has now become a Queen's tradition. For Studio Q, I'm Pete Leekha reporting.
This year, Blue Jeans Day was the focus of more than the usual attention. The Lesbian and Gay Association encourages students to wear their blue jeans to show their support of lesbian and gay rights. Steph Wilson brings us a story.
You may not have realized it, but Monday, February 15th was a day Queen's staff and students were asked to show support of the lesbian, gay, and bisexual community by wearing jeans. Many made a conscious wardrobe decision.
Yeah, I got the jeans on.
Was that a conscious effort today?
Yes, it was.
Why did you decide to wear your blue jeans?
Just that I think that to show support for the gay and lesbian population on campus.
Many did not.
Yeah, but I forgot about it this morning when I got dressed.
You know, I don't care. It doesn't, you know, I'm not going to make a statement against it or for it. So it's, yeah, they're people too.
One of the organizers of the day comments on the support shown here on campus.
I think a lot of people have been very supportive, and they've intentionally worn their jeans. Some people wore them without realizing, and they are quite taken aback when they realize that it was this type of day, and they don't want to support us.
Julia Lipinska, an active member of the Gay and Lesbian Association, passed out Hershey's Kisses in McCrory to those wearing their jeans, and she commented on the significance of the day.
Well, the idea behind it is to make people more aware of the issues of sexual orientation. Lots of people are saying to us, well, we don't think, we just pull on our jeans in the morning and we don't think about it, but what the exercise of this is to make people aware of what they wear in the morning, just as lesbians and gays and bisexuals have to think about whether they're going to be out or not when the opportunity comes around.
When asked about Principal Smith's wardrobe choices, a member of his staff made these comments.
No, he doesn't have a lot of discretionary leisure time to which jeans are normally attached, and we have not seen him wear such informal clothes. We know, any of us who work for him though know, he is not homophobic.
Conscious decision or not, Jeans Day was an important one to members of the gay, lesbian, and bisexual community here at Queen's. Organizers of the event expressed their hopes that on future Jeans Days, all wardrobe decisions would be conscious ones, with all members of the Queen's community coming out in support of gay, lesbian, and bisexual rights. For Studio Q, I'm Stephanie Wilson reporting.
How about that intro? It was like a bad trip, man. And speaking of trips, we've just left February behind, which everyone knows is the month of the enema, and now we're in March, and everybody's back and saying, how was your trip? My trip was great. How was your break? My break was great. And so, obviously, the only question we can ask this week on Streetwise is, how was your break? So let's go see if we can fish some answers out of the general student populace. Well, I spent most of my reading week at home, watching A River Runs Through It over and over again at the local theater, and I found out that fly fishing for largemouth bass is a lot easier than trying to fish for largemouth university students.
I went skiing in Simmons for about 2 hours. That's about it.
Some people didn't get to see the sun, and as a result, did not want to be photographed.
Why do you want to give me an interview? Interview her. She looked like she had a good time.
What What did you do on your break? Or did you have a break?
I had lunch, thanks.
You had lunch?
Go away.
Go away, all right. We're back.
Why?
We're back.
Get out of here.
I know you did something exciting on your break.
No, you asked me that yesterday. Remember?
You had the whole week off. Did you do anything exciting?
Babysit my children. That's it.
The sensitive reading week. But you didn't say. You just said go away.
I weren't.
Hey. You busy?
No.
All right. What did you do on your March break that was exciting? That everybody on campus wants to know about.
I went skiing in Banff like a week. It was awesome.
Are you ready? Ready?
Do I have everything on my teeth?
You have a huge chunk of chocolate right. Cool. What did you do on your holiday that was exciting?
I don't know. I spent most of it with you. Well, I fell down lots when I was skiing, so I guess that was kind of exciting.
I went to Cuba.
Yeah. So how was Cuba? How's Fidel?
Oh, great, yeah, hanging out with him in the airport lounge.
We went down south, but I stayed inside.
Inside the bagel truck the whole time?
The whole time.
Well, he's got his fine points.
Well, I spent a lot of time in the hospital. Not for me. It wasn't exciting. I hated it. I hate hospitals.
Caught about a fish that big.
What does that mean again?
Well, minnows was about...
Talking about his penis size. Yeah, what I want to know is why do people have these stupid-looking bead things in their hair?
It's to make all you people that didn't go away jealous.
Oh, what a break.
The break we just had last week.
No, I don't have a break.
You guys do anything exciting?
Exciting? Yeah. Play ping pong. Yeah. Do we not ping pong? Yeah. Table tennis.
You guys do a little demo for us?
Of course.
It's the slow-mo sword.
Lobotomy.
Kidding?
Yeah.
Right through the back there. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is Kevin Bryenton for Studio Q.
Hey, what's unwear? At AJ's Thursday and Friday, catch Scarface. Saturday night, the Razorbacks are in town, followed by the Sunday staple, Wild Blues Yonder. You do not want to miss all the laughs Wednesday night as Yuck Yucks pays a visit. At Alfie's, where it is cooler underground, it's a couple of Commerce nights, Thursday and Friday with Commerce Smokers, 94s, followed by the 95 Buddy Smoker. The annual Battle of the Bands takes place on Tuesday night, and Wednesday, the Weatherman Groove Tube will be grooving. Yeah. At the Shot, hey, spend your night with Haskell and the Cleavers, Tuesday at 9:30, and don't forget to join them for the final stretch of the term. And as we all approach the financial crunch, you may want to go down to Brouhaha, where you can brew your own beer and wine. Hey, there's kegs available. Call for big discount prices. There are many students on Queens campus who have the difficult task of combining academics with that of raising a child. With the view of helping parents at Queens, there will soon be a parent resource center opening up in the JDUC. Molly Finlay examines the center.
Is additional child care support needed at Queens? The problem may seem invisible to some, but in fact, it's a crucial challenge that must be addressed. Terry Bridges, a former PhD student, began the research for daycare 4 years ago with the birth of his son, Colin. But it was a frustrating experience.
My friends who are parents and students, it's hard getting daycare space, especially for infants. There's only a few places, and that's the hard part, is finding a good daycare.
For Terry and countless others, the AMS is investigating the feasibility of an on-campus daycare. But that project may be a long time coming. For now, a parent resource center will be opening on March 10th in the previously owned college book merchant space. Liz Mugga is behind the project.
Hopefully there'll be a place for parents to get together and just talk about being parents and just talk about not being parents and, talk about school. And so I hopefully there'll be a comfortable, supportive place for people to go, and a place which hasn't been offered on this campus.
Although the long-term cost may be expensive, Liz believes in its importance.
I think that it's a matter of priorities, and we are dealing with an increasing mature student and single parent population on campus, and that this is clearly a need that has to be addressed.
With the increasing costs of private daycare and limited spaces in on-campus facilities, the need is crucial.
So daycare is very expensive, and it would be nice to see something at the university with flexible hours, and that's subsidized by the administration.
The Rocking Horse Daycare, where Colin goes, is an example of the student need for childcare. Director Karen Thompson explains.
The main need that the owners of the building opened the daycare center for was because one was a PhD student. He needed to have childcare available for him. They tried to find daycare all over Kingston for their 15-month-old and couldn't find it, so this was their answer.
However, funding and licensing restrictions may prove to be major obstacles to the project. Whether or not the plans for daycare follow through, this is an important step in accommodating our growing mature, international, and single-parent students on campus.
The flexibility is really important, because sometimes you want to come in, you know, you have to just come in and talk to a prof, or you have to come in and, you know, work in the library for a couple hours. So it's nice if you can just bring your child in and drop them off.
For Studio Q, I'm Molly Finlay reporting.
Well, coming up this Saturday is the second annual Queens Tricolour Triathalon, and joining us now is our resident Studio Q triathlon expert, Pete Leekha.
To give you an idea of what the street sport combination race is like, we followed Martin Ridlow, a Queens triathlete, on a day of training. Reading week. A time to relax, kick back, and spend some quality time with the family, right? Not for Martin Ridlow. Ridlow is a triathlete and a member of the Queens Triathlon Club, which also produced national champion Mark Bates. Ridlow is a fourth-year mechanical engineering student at Queen's University. Training for triathlons is part of his daily student lifestyle.
Okay, go ahead.
Triathlons, I've been doing triathlons, I guess, for about 5 or 6 years now. And I guess the last 3 years been doing it pretty seriously, spending a lot of summers doing it. Lots of time during the school year training and so on. For example, going for a swim in the morning for, I know, perhaps sort of 1,500 meter workout, a total of 60 lengths, build in some intervals, then take maybe half an hour off, quick snack, and then go out for a 30-minute nice easy run, just so that your body gets adapted to doing the two sports. Some people like to spend a lot more time running, others like to spend more time swimming, some cycling, but definitely right now in the winter, it's a lot of time in the pool and so on, just because the conditions outside just aren't good for cycling or running.
So these are the downtown workout, and it's a really good idea to maybe come down here, talk to some of the people here, tell them that you're interested in doing the Tricolour, and they should let you come on here and give it a try just so you know exactly what you're going for.
Specificity is one of the key things in triathlon training, that you really want to simulate what your race is like. So that means training for the swim, training for the bike, training for the run, 2-3 times a week. So there may be days when I do all 3 sports, then might mix that in with an easy day where I do just one of the sports just to relax, and then back to 2 sports again.
The actual triathlon, what kind of time is going to be spent on this bike?
The Tricolour is going to be either 10 miles or 15 minutes, whichever comes first. So probably the top cyclists might be coming in sometimes around 12:30, 13 minutes for the 10 miles. After you finish this, probably a good idea to warm down for 30 seconds or so before you actually get your clothes on and head up for the run. Really good idea just to loosen up the legs. They come out and they feel a little bit like jelly after you finish this part.
Here's Ridlow, just moments after winning the Iron Curtain Triathlon, held in Germany and Czechoslovakia during the summer of 1991. It was this experience that drove him to begin an indoor triathlon series upon returning to Canada.
And I guess that's part of the reasoning why we started this indoor triathlon series, to get people motivated during the winter when it's so hard to get motivated when it's -20 outside. And why not stay inside and have some fun in front of the TV and have a beer?
So if you're motivated to get off that couch and get some exercise, enter the Queen's Tricolour Triathlon.
So say I'm motivated, say I want to get off my couch, how can I register?
It's really easy. Just go to the Phys Ed Center and fill out a registration form. Registration takes place from 7 to 9 p.m. on Friday night.
Well, as the sports season slowly winds down, the men's hockey team went down fighting. After making the playoffs for the first time, since the Trudeau years, it seems, they beat Trois-Rivières in the OUAA East quarterfinals, sudden death, 4-3. They went on to face the University of Toronto in a best-of-3 series for the semis. The first game was played here at the Jock Hardy Arena last Thursday night. Despite a solid effort, Toronto took the first tilt by a final score of 4-1. The action then moved to Toronto, where Queens countered with an impressive 5-2 victory. But it was not to be. University of Toronto walked away with the third game, soundly beating the Gales 11-2. Hey, congratulations are still in order for head coach John Phelan and the Gales squad. The women's basketball team lost a heartbreaker in the quarterfinal rounds of the OW Championships. Lakehead scored at the buzzer, edging Queens 73-72. Queens did manage to go on and beat York in the consolation final for a 5th place. Good job. And a few quick championships to tell you about. The men's Nordic skiing team won the team and individual team relay championships in competition last week. And lastly, the men's curling team took first place in the OU championships held in Waterloo. Congratulations to all of Queens athletes.
Studio Q has learned that the Student Entrepreneur Center in the JDUC will remain closed into next week. Then this abrupt action by the university administration has created a rift between the Alma Mater Society and Vice Principal Tom Williams. The center opened 2 weeks ago without complete confirmation of the zoning details from City Hall. Though there were assurances that the activities of the center would satisfy the legal statutes, a complaint was filed by Marlon Grant's Travel on Princess Street. Dan Reese, AMS Services Director, says that this complaint and the importance of the university's relationship with the city prompted the university to close the center's doors.
That letter was sent to Tom Williams. He was called to respond. There was a phone call from the city solicitor to his office, and it was in his court to do something, and that was the decision that was made.
Reese is confident the center will open soon, hopefully Monday or Tuesday of next week. But the decisive action taken by VP Williams does nothing to enhance his relationship with Jonathan Bailey, the AMS president. Bailey rifled off a harsh letter saying that his action contravened a relationship built on open communication, trust, and fairness. And communication was definitely a problem.
If they, being the university, had explained to us the importance of satisfying those criteria and asked us to close, for example, on the Thursday, I, as the person that was in charge of overseeing it, would have given strong consideration to doing that. Goodwill created. Thank you for the phone call. Thank you for the explanation of understanding. Thank you for the opportunity to explain what process has taken place on our end. In fact, that did not happen, and as is evident in John's letter, the unilateral decision made has created some ill will, I think, between our office and Vice Principal Williams' office.
For Studio Q, I'm Bruce Sellery reporting.
All right, hey, that's it for this week's show. It's been very cold out here, so we're going to be quick.
For those of you who might have forgotten, I'm sure you haven't, but there's the Arts Formal this weekend, and Studio Q will be there, so be looking for us. And next week, be sure to watch, because we're going to have an in-depth story on the Formal.
That's right, and we can see people drunk, so you may see yourself drunk on TV next week.
Also, we're having a contest this week as well. This only applies to Thursday, March 4th show. And the first person to call...
Call 545-6699.
That is?
That's 545-6699.
We'll win a $25 gift certificate to the bookstore, and the next 5 callers will win...
Was that people calling 545-6699?
Yeah.
Right, they'll win current movie posters.
Your choice
posters.
of current movie posters.
So enjoy the Formal if you're going.
Be sure to call.
And be sure to call, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
He's Ron Tite. I'm Kirsta Teague. Studio Q, Queen's weekly television show, is brought to you courtesy of Cablenet 13 and the Queen's Alma Mater Society. Tune in each week, Thursdays at 6 and Fridays at 4:30 on Cablenet 13.